prescription is for society today for men? In a short version, what do you think they should do to be successful with women?
To be successful with women,
Yeah.
okay, are we talking about like getting a girl for a long-term relationship, just to get laid? What are we talking about?
Well,
here?
I think the only reason should be for a long-term relationship and marriage. I mean, that's Jesus Christ founded it, but I'm just curious what your prescription is.
Well, I've talked about this. I think guys have to have certain things in place, right, before they want to get into a long-term relationship. It's 5 things. So I would say $100K per year, 6 figures a year, 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, have at least 50 partners, right? Sexual body count.
All right, and then is that the last one?
And then there's one more, but that's fine. You could go ahead and
Okay.
engage with what I've said so far.
So the reason I asked that is I've watched almost every single podcast you ever did for about a year and a half. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did, and it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening to Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now I'm happily married. I have one child now with another one on the way, and I've never felt happier. But I felt...
Congratulations, that's good. That's really good.
Thank you. And I know you're not against that, but my concern is what you're saying to men leads them astray, because I'm a walking example of it. And I think you're significantly damaging people, and especially you're leading people away from morality. Women are not sex objects. Women are created in the image of God, and they are valuable. And they should be treated as such. Why should God give you one of his children if you don't even know how to treat them? So I think...
All right, so do not know why that's happening. Yeah, now we're back. So what's going on with this thing? All right, so so if you guys know anything about Fresh and Fit, they're awful. I mean, just awful. And he's awful. Like, his advice is awful. Their mindset is awful. What do you think about the Christian guys' interaction with him? Do you think he did a good job?
Yeah, man, I think he did very well. I think he told his truth, what happened, his testimony and stuff like that. Part of me was like, I think at the same time, being like following people like that online, I think for me personally, even before, I would say I don't think I would have been following people like that, just hearing somebody's advice and just doing what they saying. But at the same time, some guys are searching as well. You know what I mean? We talking about women at times searching for stuff. Guys are searching as well. So, but I think at the same time he did. It kind of felt funny because the crowd was like kind of like with him, so he's like cheering him. And in my mind, I'm like, is everybody here Christian, or is these people just happy that he's going against what Myron is saying as well? But he said the right thing, honestly. Like, I mean, I'm glad that everything turned around for him. But if you listen to the clip, because of course I edited that one, but if you listen to the whole clip, he was trying to, like, Myron was saying like, yo, so you blaming me for not having accountability for your own life, like trying to back it on him. But yeah, they give out horrible advice. You know what I'm saying? But I think for them, they feel like I'm saying this to women who are not virtuous women. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying this to women who are in OnlyFans model, because that's who come on a show majority of the time. If you ever seen a show, is OnlyFans girls or different things, and they come in there and they kind of have like a back and forth debate, but they treat them like trash in there anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much telling you to be a rich hoe, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, get 6 figures, and with that money, you're gonna have a status to where you can run through as many women as you want. Like, I don't even see the logic behind that. Like, I know bro was saying that he listened to it and he followed the advice. I'm just like, from a common sense perspective, like, it don't really even make sense. Like, with all the risk that's involved, you could get somebody pregnant who you don't want to get pregnant. You could run into something you can't get rid of. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of risk out here. So I'm not even looking so much even from the Christian perspective, just like plain old common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sometimes I'd be surprised at what we'll listen to. Well, some people will listen to it and think it is advice. It ain't advice. It's just Just wrong.
It's just terrible.
It don't even make sense, like you said.
Yeah, I like what like you
That don't add up.
So where was he mentally and emotionally to where he listened to this guy and say, you know what? That's a great idea. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
That's the real issue. Like, where was he? And then too, like we always say, like we come in here and we'll share theological truths and different things from scripture and whatnot, but this is not your church. You know what I'm saying? You should have a body of believers that you fellowship with on a regular. You know what I'm saying? Not just on Sundays. You should be small groups and Bible studies, and you should be seeking wise counsel from different places. Like, they go to show you cannot just depend on podcasts and social media to shape your worldview. Like, you need some help. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is a prime example of why you shouldn't do that.
But also, I think that the same thing is just having that as a person listening to somebody on a screen that you don't know, that you don't have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Even like when we were growing up, we didn't have podcasts. We had rappers. We had different people that were saying those things inside that got inside your head that made you question certain things. So those different influences still wasn't existing back then, but it wasn't just as, like prevalent to see and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
So, like, say for instance, like with rappers, right? A rapper will go out here and say, yeah, I shot him and did this and I robbed him and this and that. Like, okay. So then my common sense kicks in. If I shoot him, I'm going to go to jail.
But some people didn't. Some people like, some people listened to him was like, I'm going to do what he said.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, it's just still common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lived a life outside the will of God for a good amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen a lot of things. And even then, it was like, even people who were in the street, like hustlers, dope dealers and stuff, it was still a measure of common sense that they would move with because they knew prison was a real consequence. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even with women and stuff, it's like, money coming fast, you live in a certain kind of way, yeah, you gonna dib and dab, but it just like, have women with everybody, like with every woman you see, you know what I'm saying? Like 50 of them, 60, like come on, bro. That's a mental issue. That's a sickness. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's just regular.
What do you think is causing this red pill society that's growing? Like, why does he even have a chance to sit there and talk? Like, why is everybody paying attention to him? Myron, I'm talking about. Why does it work?
I have not thoroughly studied this, so I cannot say that my assessment is accurate in its totality. But I think people want acceptance just on a basic level. People want validation, and people, I don't know. I feel like this shows up not even just in the world. I do feel like this also shows up in the church as well. I think objectification is not something that's just relegated to non-Christians, or like it can be in things that are outside of like having sex with 50 people. It can be just the way that you're operating with people, the way you're dealing with them. Like if you just see them as a means to an end. But ultimately I feel like people just want validation, and I don't know. I'm sure men want acceptance from women. And so if you're taught that to have sex is a way to gain a certain level of clout so that like, oh, you're that dude, then I'm assuming that's why folks is out here doing that. So in that regard, and if you haven't had a father, you don't have men who are talking to you about things, and as my mama said, common sense is not common. You know, it's a lot of folks out here that just ain't got it. Or they just didn't have people to teach them right from wrong, or what is good for you versus what is not. So,
do you guys think that like the whole toxic masculinity is the reason why like guys were being like scooped up in it? Like, because I'm sure there's plethora of men that was just like this guy that's talking like I watched their show and you know what I mean, I may have gotten rejected by somebody, so this is how I'm moving now, you know what I'm saying? So, but they don't see the pitfalls of it. They just see how they talk to women and go like, yeah, you need to talk to them like that. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all feel like this is like men today? Like for the ladies, do y'all feel like this is like the men that y'all see not in the street, but in the church?
I'm not in the streets.
That's why I cleared it up.
No, I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of low self-esteem. The reason why I think people listen to Myron, I fought the pandemic and people just getting access to mics and thinking that they can be podcasters thinking they can be podcasters and everything. So I kind of fought that, but also low self-esteem and kind of like Miracle said, I think a lot of people in general want to be accepted.
Yeah.
But I think they don't, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with rejection.
Yeah.
And then there are also a lot of childhood wounds that people probably have. And then once someone rejects them, it kind of reopens a wound. And so I think that's what we're seeing. And we haven't had a lot of strong male role models of any color, really, to show people how to deal with rejection. Because honestly, being rejected might be a blessing in certain situations.
Wow.
Like you might think that, like some men may feel like, she rejected me, and then they're in their feelings. But then you might see her 10, 15 years down the line, be like, yo, I dodged that bullet. And the same, vice versa when it comes down to women. But I think enough people aren't saying that. So then they feel like, I can't have what I want, so I missed out.
But I think the question is like, also, is like, do you feel like, is that the reason why you're starting to get that in the church? Even we had somebody in the comments said the same thing, like, the men follow this guy for the same reason women follow the Kardashians or women like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is it defeating the purpose? Like, is it defeating the purpose, especially for singles? Because, I mean, he's on a college campus, but majority of the time, I'm sure his target audience is single men. So it's like, is that hurting the men that you guys see, like, that are acting like that? Is it that you see, like, on a normal basis?
I don't have a lot of people that I can like pull from to be like, oh yeah, like they're doing these things. I think, just it's a concept that I'm like, okay, like I'm sure this exists. I feel like people be out here doing stuff, I've seen it from afar. It's not something that I've like had a close connection to. So I can't really speak to more than that. But I just feel like people want to be validated.
I agree, and I think my view on that might be limited as well. Right now, I'm just church, work, home. I mean, I am in a relationship, so I'm not exploring.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see that this is working really well. I know the week I was out, you guys did the Candace Owens one where she was talking about Andrew Tate. So it's just like a whole community of people who they seem to be getting like inspiration from these guys. And I'm just, what's so appealing about acting that way? You know what I mean?
Maybe it's also like wanting to be great, like perceived as a commodity, wanting to be perceived as like desirable. And if we are in this culture with like, social media, dating apps, all of these things, it's like, what can make me stand out the most? What would make me be that guy, And so I think instead of just the one-to-one, like getting to know who you are, getting to know someone else and like letting that be what it needs to be and learning from it, it's like, no, I want to be the most desired person in the room. But what does that matter? Because if it's just your money, if it's just your accolades, if it's just what you've done, is that who you are? Because once you get past all that, then who are you? Because it wouldn't actually make sense for every woman in the room, if there's 50 women in the room, to be like, I want him. And then you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, let me give you access. If you're thinking about yourself as a person who has worth and like has attributes that need to be valued.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. That's it.
I think the reason why they're getting praise by people like Candace Owens because they look like traditional masculinity, and I think masculinity today is so like washed over that people don't know what true masculinity is. So it's like So now it's like, think about, just think about the movies we grew up with. The hero was the guy that got all the girls. He proud of life kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Got the girls, got the car, got the house. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they represent. So for the Candace Owens of the world, they probably look at them like they're men. You know what I'm saying? Versus this weak kind of shallow men that society is pushing to be for men to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on for real. I think on both sides, I think with both genders, you have toxic masculinity, you have toxic femininity going on, and it's almost like people are waging war against each other instead of seeing the value that each one has.
Yeah.
So I should be able to look at a woman in a healthy way and see the value that she has. She should be able to look at a man and see the value that he has. It seems like people are competing for dominance. So it's like I got to go out here, have money and status, and have all these women. So when I come across a woman, she's gonna be so enamored by what I have. I shouldn't have to say anything. She's just gonna fall in line. But then it's the woman who feels I'm not been getting respected the way I should be respected. I got my own job. I got my own money. I really don't need anything from you. I just want companionship. But sometimes when guys are coming the way they're coming, it makes you feel, now you're going to get that aggressive woman who's like, you know, I really don't need this for real because you're listening to guys like this. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's a lack of respect on both sides. I feel like that's being pushed through the media and through social. So you got I like at the end of the day, he said he came to Christ and he was like, man, why would God give you one of his daughters if you don't know how to treat them? And vice versa, why would God give you one of his sons if you don't know how to treat them? So I think everybody has to see the value instead of competing. Like I think
absolutely.
Like even if you look at like in a marriage, like it shouldn't be. I'm just thinking. If I'm thinking biblically speaking, like it shouldn't be me against you. It should be us against the situation, right? So it's like now as a whole, it shouldn't be men against women. It's like okay, it's certain things that women bring to the table that I can't do. And me admitting that doesn't mean I'm less than a man that's being real, and vice versa.
Right.
That's why when we come together, we should become whole and be able to do things together. But now these messages divisive and it's pretty much
Beauty in the comments says they're just another version of Kevin Samuels. Is this Kevin Samuels' fault? Did he kind of start this, or was this already bubbling?
I think the funny part about Kevin Samuels is he was originally doing men. Like he was talking to men about stuff, and then he probably was like, "Oh, these men this ain't no audience." So he started doing that to women to wait the same kind of advice he was giving men.
Well, but why did that work? Because it's almost like
honestly,
insulting women is almost like it works. Like it has an audience.
It depends on who you're talking to. Let's just put that out there.
Women he was talking to, he wasn't talking to the right women. That's
people
all that
signed up to be on his show to get yelled at.
No, absolutely. But I did not watch it religiously because I honestly did not have the stomach for it. But for one, his primary demographic was Black women. And we have to go back to the fact that a lot of us have grown up without fathers or father figures. And so when you're out here trying to find love, you're out here trying to figure out how can I get that connection, that companionship with a man, and what you're doing isn't working. Your girlfriends can't tell you what to do. And if you're in the church, maybe nobody's talking about it. Okay, well, now this man is saying some stuff that don't sound like anything else anyone else has told me, and it's straightforward. Well, then you listen.
I do think the rise of feminism at that time was another competing factor to match that energy, if you get what I'm saying.
Like the Me Too movement?
No, not the Me Too movement, but just more like the rise of like the boss chick.
Independent.
So imagine I use us as an example. So imagine us, when we were single, like, man, we getting rejected. These girls don't want us, and you're meeting women that you desire because of maybe social media or whatever, and they're looking down at you like, man, you ain't this. You ain't, even though you may have a good job or whatever, but you ain't her success level, right? So he was saying like, talking to women on that level and like, you think you a 10? For real? Come on, stop playing. You a 5. Like,
it's combative.
Like that. Yeah, so it was like,
it's still combative.
He was trying to quote unquote, match the energy. He wasn't right, but at the same time, he was trying to like kind of pick up for the guy that
But it was very few women on his show that were women of status. Like most of the women that you saw were more like what Miracle was talking about, people who probably didn't have a positive male figure growing up, low self-esteem, depressed, desperate, trying to figure out what can they do to get a man because they're tired of being lonely. So you go anywhere you can to try to get some insight. So you go on here and he chumping you off, belittling you, but you're so people are so brainwashed. Well, at least he kept it real with me. At least he being honest. That's what you're saying when you're saying he's saying things nobody else is saying. Like everybody else lying to him. At least he keeping it real.
Yeah.
Keeping it real doesn't mean I got to destroy your self-esteem and your self-worth. I can keep it real with you and still be constructive and build you up and say, hey, this is what might be going on. And then again, I'm only one man. I can't speak for all men. So just because these 5 guys over here don't think you are appealing, that don't mean one of these 5 over here don't. So it's really subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah,
true.
Shania said Kevin was humbling entitled women and men that desire things that they either weren't ready for or didn't qualify for.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's something to chew on, for sure. Yeah, I also think something that I feel like I have perpetually seen is that there seems to be a disconnect for a good amount of women and men of what is value. Because I think one of the things Kevin used to talk about was like, what was it? High value man, right? Yeah. And it's like, what are you defining to be value?
Well, he did it.
Like,
He said it. He said 100,000.
No, I know, but to me, that's not valuable.
They think it is.
But that's the issue.
They think it is because they've found women who will agree with that.
But this is the thing. For the women who have exposure to men with money, for the women who have exposure to men with power, you can talk to them. And if they have any sense of depth and self-awareness and introspection at all, that's not enough. So that's where it's just like, for me, I don't think that enough of those conversations are had because people are looking for their basic needs to be met, but they're not thinking about their emotional well-being. You're not thinking about your spiritual, your mental. Like, it's just, can you provide for a house and some food? And maybe I could like buy, a Rolls Royce or something. Like, just, that's the type of stuff. And I'm like, that's not enough. Because if you look at if we're talking about the Kardashians, is that the life you really aspire to? Do you want peace or do you want chaos with money? What's the priority? Right. So I think those are the conversations that are not had. Like, financial security does not equal emotional, spiritual, mental security. Absolutely. It's necessary to have stability so that you can be well. But that, I think, is what is not breaking through this stuff. And because people haven't had access to it, I'm assuming, because I think the people who have had access to money, access to power, can look at this stuff and be like, unless they're the people that are those people. Because you have people who, like, I don't know if it was it Will Smith posted a video not too long ago just talking about, like, when you're at the mountaintop, not being satisfied. That's the same sort of thing. Like, you can experience that internally within your own life and experience, and also with other people that you're in relationship with.
And that's what happens when you got the person with the low self-esteem, though, who has no kind of self-value. You could tell them, like, man, it's lonely at the top, man. You going to get up there and realize nothing there. They're looking like, well, shoot, my life sucks right now. So let me experience it for myself. Let me get to the top and figure it. And that's why people like this have a platform, because they're like, okay, what I'm trying ain't working. He looks to be happy and successful. He's giving me advice. Let me try to follow what he's doing.
Right.
People want to see for themselves.
I think overall the general attitude I'm seeing that is working right now is just being rude. You could be rude to people right in their face, and people celebrate you for it. And that's the thing. I'm not liking guys like Myron are winning because they're rude, and people's value being rude now for some reason. So.